Awesome. Big welcome, everybody, to our Girls Run the World event. Tonight is a little bit different because we are doing a mental health webinar tonight. So we do this event every single week, but we are changing it up a little bit tonight because we've got some really amazing women in our team who have been on a massive journey with their mental health, and we thought that we should jump on and share with everybody a little bit about our journeys and what that has been for us. Bear with me, I'll just mute everyone again. There we go. So welcome, my name is Karina. It is April the 30th, Tuesday night, and I am really, really excited to bring this event to you tonight. I can tell you that the speakers that we have here are quite nervous. This is actually something that is not easy to do, getting up here and speaking to all of you guys from all over. As you saw before, that we've got people from all over Australia on here. I know there's a few New Zealanders on here as well. So look, it's a big audience to speak to, and it's, I guess, something that we really do have to open up about and talk about in order to help other people through their journeys and where they're at. So it's not an easy thing to do. So please bear with us tonight while we share our stories with you. We are so grateful you're all here tonight to cheer us on and support us while we're doing this. But please bear with us as we are attempting to share some of our most private parts of our lives. So thank you so much for jumping on. A little bit about the run tonight and how it's going to work. Obviously, I'm your host, and then we've got 3 other stories we're going to be sharing with you tonight, as well as my own. Now, this is a business that we run behind the scenes, and there's a product behind this and a program behind this, which you'll hear a little bit about throughout the night, but it's definitely not about that tonight. It really is about women sharing their stories about mental health and our journeys through that, and how our business and program has assisted with that. Okay, so towards the end of the night, we will also be having some people who are launching their businesses. So stick around for the end if you are here to celebrate those people. Please stick around, we will get to that. This event won't run for too long. It really is probably about a 20-minute event at the most, so we won't keep you guys too long. But thank you for joining us. So a little bit about myself. Obviously, as I said, I'm Karina. I've been doing this business now for 3 years. But I suppose my journey with mental health really did start probably even younger than 16, but 16 is sort of when I started to notice it was something that I struggled with, something that was hard for me. And it definitely hasn't been until, until I had my second child that I realized, actually realized what my challenges were. So going back to when I was 16, that was probably the first time that I really remember just losing control of myself. And so I had just gone through a breakup, which at the time felt like the world was ending. Now that I know at 16, obviously that was just the beginning of all of that stuff in my life. But for me at the time, it was massive, and this person had cheated on me, and it was a horrible experience that I had been through as a 16-year-old vulnerable girl. And I remember just how absolutely heartbroken I was, and how I felt so out of control. I couldn't control any of my emotions. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to feel, and I just could not control anything that I was doing. At that time, I actually attempted to commit suicide and ended up in hospital for a couple of days, getting all sorts of help and stuff. But look, I guess that for me was sort of the start of my journey, and where I started to realize that I really did struggle with my emotions. So from that point, I started on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, and that was something that I took every single day for the next 16 years of my life. And I just thought that was normal. A lot of the people around me were taking that medication, and to me it was just like, yep, that's just the normal thing you do. You just take your medication every day and it balances you out. But I found that it really did, it numbed me. It meant that I couldn't feel anything then. And at the time I thought, yeah, that's great. You know, I can control everything. And now looking back, I know just how not okay that was. But I remember, you know, when I would forget to take my medication. I would feel so sick, so dizzy, nauseous, like just disgusting. And it was horrible. I hated being on that medication every day. So I went through to my 20s. I went through a bit of a party phase, which most of us did, I suppose, at that age. And I definitely, I wasn't looking after myself. And I was sort of going on a roller coaster with my emotions because I wasn't looking after myself. Again, another relationship ended, and to me, the world was, you know, crumbling around me. And the same thing happened. I attempted to commit suicide again. You know, and it was at that point where I thought, I can't keep doing this same thing. You know, I can't keep having these relationships that fail and then leave me in this situation where I feel so alone. And I think that's what I really struggled with. I didn't like to be alone. I hated it, to the point where I wouldn't go anywhere alone. I wouldn't go to the bathroom alone. I would take friends with me. I wouldn't go to the mall alone. I wouldn't go shopping on my own. You know, I didn't do anything other than work on my own. And even then, you know, I'd go into work and I'd be with my friends. So I really did struggle with being alone, and that for me was really, really hard. Again, this is nothing that I really knew at the time. So it was later in my 20s when I fell pregnant with my first child. And at that point, I'd been living on my own for about a year before I had her. And I felt really good because I was doing things on my own, and I thought, I've got this, you know, I can do this, I can be on my own. And then I met the father of my children, and we had my daughter. And while I was pregnant, I put on 30 kilos. And I came out of that pregnancy, and it was my first child. You know, all my friends didn't have kids. They didn't relate to me anymore. So I lost all those friendships. You know, my partner was out at work all day, 6 days a week. I was at home with my baby. It was just me and her. And although I absolutely love being a mother, and I absolutely loved that time, I love newborns, they're my absolute favorite, but it was such a hard time for me. I was so alone. I had no direction in my life. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. You know, I was on mat leave. I'm a public servant. But I didn't want to go back to work. You know, I just wanted to be with my baby. But at the same time, you know, I was torn because I was like, well, what am I going to do? Like, I can't stay here and be alone all the time. It was doing my head in. But I also didn't want to go back to work and miss time with my children. And I didn't realize at the time. Now I know that I had postnatal depression. But I certainly didn't know at the time. I had a lot of things going on in that relationship that weren't very good for me either, or for our family. And so that was a really challenging time for me. And I guess I didn't put myself first, as you don't as a first-time mother. And so I neglected myself and my health. I didn't lose that weight that I put on from her. And I really did. I just struggled with my self-esteem. I didn't want to go anywhere. I was wearing maternity clothes for probably 3 years straight. I don't know. It was not a nice time for me inside my head. Not that I don't think anyone else really knew that around me. So when she was probably 6 months old, I fell pregnant again, but I had an ectopic pregnancy and miscarried that next baby. So that was another thing, you know, that just built on top of all of those things that were happening at the time. Thankfully, we fell pregnant again not long after that, and I had my son, Jensen. So I think it was when I fell pregnant with Jensen, I did start to sort of look a little bit more into my health. I joined a lot of different programs and things that would help me through my pregnancy. I did go and get a psychologist and things like that because I knew that I just wasn't coping very well. So I was reaching out and getting the help that I needed, but I still was struggling. My relationship was in breakdown, and a month before I had Jensen, actually eight days before I had Jensen, I found out that the father of my children was also cheating on me. So I gave birth to Jensen, and that relationship didn't last much longer. And that for me was like breaking point. I think I had just had so much stuff built up from that whole relationship and those 3 pregnancies and all the stuff that had happened, and me having postnatal depression, and I hadn't addressed it, and I'd been through a horrible situation. There's so much more that I could go into. Obviously, I don't want to sit here all night and take up all the screen, but it was an absolute horrible place for me, and I ended up a single mum with 2 young babies, and I was dead broke. I was drowning in debt. I was suicidal. I was in the worst place of my life. There were days I remember that I remember ringing up the father of my children one morning and saying to him, if you don't come and get the kids, all of us may not be here, because I didn't know how to cope anymore. And it's really hard for me to say that. It's really hard for me to sit here and tell complete strangers that, yes, the thought had crossed my mind to end it for me and my children. But that is the point that I got to. And I think it is important that we talk about these things, because those thoughts do happen to people when they hit that point. And it's really important that we talk about this stuff and we put it out there that it's okay. Obviously it's not okay to go through with that, but it's okay that we have these feelings and that we get help, and that we start to look after ourselves and understand that, yes, breaking point can happen and we can all get to that point. So from then on, obviously that was a massive wake-up call to me. My babies are absolutely everything to me. I love being a mother. My children are my world, and everything I do is for my children. But that was a wake-up call to me. I had to get help. Nobody was coming to save me. This was up to me, and I had to change my whole life. I had to change my thinking. I had to change my health in order to make sure that my children had the best life that I could possibly give them. So that's actually when I came across this business opportunity and these products. And I started obviously 3 years ago on those products, and I haven't taken an antidepressant since the day I started on them. And I can absolutely tell you that my moods are stable. I'm happy. I'm the healthiest that I've ever been. I understand a lot more about health now. I understand a lot more about mindset, and I'm able to control my feelings on my own. I've been able to work through that. I've done a lot of personal development. Obviously I still get upset. I still get angry. I still get frustrated and challenged and things in my life, but I now have better skills to be able to assist myself when I get to that point. So the products that we do use, and the main ones that I have found are really helpful for me are these ones here, which are literally fruit, veg, and berries in a capsule. That's all they are. There is no additives, no numbers, nothing added into these. It is just whole foods in a capsule. So basically what happens is when you flood your body with the nutrients that it needs, it will start to heal whatever it is in your body that needs healing, right? That's the natural thing with food, with whole foods. That's how our bodies work. So for me, obviously, by taking these products and starting to look after my health, I, gained more energy. I was able to gain more clarity, and they both gave me the tools that I needed to start then looking after myself more, so I could exercise more. I would start reaching for better foods because I wasn't craving the sugary crap anymore. And then obviously from there, it's just helped me to completely balance out my moods. I started to feel a lot calmer, and I realized that I could get rid of all my medications and just look after my health, and that for me was massive. So that's our main product. We do have other products obviously as well, for those who don't know, but we have a plant-based protein and we have vegan omegas as well. I do take all of the products and absolutely swear by them, but I'm not here tonight to really talk about those so much, so I don't want to give you the full rundown on them. But look, if you do have any questions about our products and you want to know more, please reach out to the person who invited you along tonight and ask that question. We would be more than happy to send you more information on that. But look, I guess for me, it's a journey. My mental health has definitely been a massive thing in my life that I really didn't come to realize just how much it was affecting me until I was in my 30s and until I started to get some personal development behind me and really start looking at myself and what issues I was having and how I could overcome them. And now this business, this community of people, and the girls you're going to meet in a minute when I stop talking, sorry guys, you will understand, just how much having this amazing community around you can really help to lift you up and raise you up. So I'm all about empowering women, especially. We do have some amazing men on the team as well. But look, really, I'm about, just helping other women to live the best versions of themselves. And that's really what it's all about and what we want to help you guys with as well. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to move over to Esther now, and she'll tell you a little bit more about her story.
Thank you, Karina. Well, I wanted to start tonight as well by thanking everybody for jumping on. Talking live is never easy. We're not trained in any way to do this, and we're just really normal, everyday people. But one thing that we do have in common is that all of the people who are talking tonight have had experiences with mental health throughout their life, and we all feel pretty passionate about getting on and sharing our stories, because if we can help anybody else who's feeling the same kind of pain, then that's really important to us. I guess for me, it's interesting hearing Karina's story, because there's a lot of similarities between what we've been through. I think for me, really, I can look back to my childhood. There's an awful lot of mental health history in my family, and has been for quite some time. Really, starting from a young age, for me, we didn't focus on good nutrition in my family. There was a lot of processed food. There was a lot of unhealthy eating habits and unhealthy attitudes around health in general. Then when I got into my teens, hormones kicked in, similar kind of story to Karina. There were times where I was feeling quite despondent, again, had issues with my body image, with my self-esteem. I can also tell you, could tell you about vivid memories that I have of being a teenager and feeling like, is this it? Is this all that we're ever going to have? Is this as happy as I'm ever going to get? And feeling quite despondent and considering whether there is another option for me, another way out. And really from there, going into adulthood, I guess one of the really key times for me was when I started having my babies as well. I'd experienced depression and anxiety leading up to my first pregnancy. And then, like Karina, I put on 30 kilos with my first pregnancy. Quite a traumatic birth as well. My son was 11 pounds, so just over 5 kilos. And when he was 5 weeks old, he also developed bacterial meningitis. So struggling with postnatal depression, and a baby who was suddenly very unwell, who we nearly lost. And that was, I guess, really the real eye-opener for me, when other people started to notice there was something going on with my mental health. I was a new mum, so I just got on with it. Went to see my GP, started on the medication. As Karina said, it allowed me to get on with everything that I needed to every day. I wasn't feeling the way I was feeling before I took the medication, but I wasn't really feeling, which looking back on that time now is really no way to experience motherhood for the first time. Went on to have my other babies, but also have spent the last 20 years or so working as an emergency nurse, so working on shifts. Again, poor nutrition played a big part. I was always quite active before I had my children, so I could eat what I wanted, and never really focused on getting good nutrition into my body. Night shifts help me put on weight. Night shifts isolate you from other people. Shift workers have an awful tendency to rely on alcohol to help them sleep, which is something I found myself doing. And then it really, for me, all came to a head about 2 years ago. I had experienced some pretty traumatic things at work, and just basically fell apart. Started seeing a psychologist because I could go to work, and was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. So found myself not sleeping, increasing my alcohol intake, having no energy, and back again for the first time in many, many years to that feeling of worthlessness and feeling suicidal, and at times unable to see a way out. Excuse me. And luckily enough for me, I had a really good friend at the time who had been through some pretty similar experiences, and she had discovered these products and our team probably only like a month or two before I had. But I'd already seen a massive change in her, and just connected and had that first conversation, like, what's going on with you? Because she just suddenly seemed so happy and so much brighter in herself. And yeah, introduced me to our products and our team. And I think for me, it's a real combination of both of those things. I can't even put into words the people that I've met in the last 2 years through our team, and people who've joined us on the program as well. Just, there's the nutrition side of things, which has obviously made a massive difference to me because it's something I never focused on my entire life. And finally waited until my 40s, as you do, to focus on nutrition. The benefits I've seen are just insane. So my sleep quality is amazing. My energy is so much better. Also have stopped taking any medication that I have pretty much been on and off my entire life. But the people in this team and the people that I'm now surrounding myself with are so positive and so empowering. And I think, it's a combination of everything. It's about looking after your physical health through nutrition and, moving more, getting outside, getting the sunshine. But it's also so, so important to me now to surround myself with positivity, surround myself with positive people and people who just seek to empower you and lift you up. And I think the final thing really for me to touch on as well is the program, the amazing program that Kira and Adam and so many other people have worked on for us that sits alongside the products that we're talking about. This program has really taught me so much about nutrition, so much about healthy eating and healthy habits for my mind and for my self-esteem. And what it's allowed me to do is then raise my children in an environment that I didn't have. So creating these positive, healthy habits within my family. So I know that I'm breaking that cycle for the next generation, which is also a massive thing for me, to know that I'm empowering my daughter long before she reaches any of the challenging points in life that, where I ended up falling down. So thank you for listening. As you can see, I'm quite passionate about sharing this story. If I can help anybody else who's in a place of pain or at some stage in their recovery, then it's worth me getting up here and feeling anxious and sharing. And I know that there are many other people in our team who are experiencing some mental health issues as well, and who share my passion about reaching out and sharing their story. And one of those people is my beautiful friend, Megan. So if I can pass over to her now.
Thanks, Esther. I feel quite emotional listening to you. We've been friends for 2 years, and there's a lot of things in your story that I hadn't heard. Coming into this tonight, I had feelings of not feeling worthy enough to speak with these beautiful women and thinking that I'm not good enough. And how can my story inspire people or show people that there's another way? And Karina gave me a little pep talk, and she said, just speak from the heart and speak about yourself. So for me, I'm a mum of 4. And like Karina and Esther, a lot of my mental health issues I can really place back to my childhood. My upbringing wasn't the best, so I was continually comparing myself to other people and thinking, I wish that was my life, or I wish I was better, and really not thinking about how good life is. So I got past that. I went through high school. I actually left home at quite an early age and put myself through the end of high school and started working straight through high school because I didn't want to be in my home environment. Then, as I went through life, I became a mum. As an older mum, I always said I wasn't going to have children because I didn't want to put children into that position that I was in. And I thought, how can I be a good mum when I've never had that great upbringing? So I had my first daughter at 32. And much to my disappointment, I developed postnatal depression pretty quickly because it wasn't what I expected. What really brought it home for me one night was I was actually planning on packing up and leaving. My partner at the time was in the army, so he was away. So it was just my daughter and I. She was about 3 or 4 weeks old. And I'd planned my suitcase, I'd packed. I'm thinking I'll just put her to bed and I'll just drive and go. And I was going to call the police and let them know that there was an unattended baby in the house. And I'm thinking I can just go and never have to deal with this again. And it was then that I thought, this isn't normal. This isn't what a mum should do. This isn't what life is about. So, of course, I took myself to see a doctor and diagnosed with postnatal depression. Not long after that, I lost my own mum very quickly to cancer. And then I had a relationship breakdown. So there was a lot of things being thrown at me all at once. I'd always considered myself a very tough person, but, when challenges keep mounting up, you just realize that you can't cope. So, of course, I went on to antidepressants because once I started talking about antidepressants, I feel like, everyone says, oh, well, I take this, I take this, I take that. So that began my journey of depression and anxiety and trying to deal with these feelings of low self-esteem and not feeling worthy. Fast forward a couple of years and I then had my next daughter. From there, I became a full-time stay-at-home mum because I had my next child after that very quickly. So, I felt like I'd been pregnant and had a baby in nappies for about 3 or 4 years. And then I had my last child, who is now 4. After I had him, I'd been a mum, so that's all I was. All I'm thinking is I'm just a mum. I went through this. I came from a corporate job, so I was earning really good money. I was quite independent. I was very financial, and all of a sudden I'm relying on my husband, and I don't have that independence, and I don't have an identity, and I'm just a mum. After I had my youngest son, Austin, my depression escalated, and that could be put down to just having 0 sleep and 4 children. My doctor increased my antidepressants, and it got to a point where, again, I was feeling like I needed to just leave. Thoughts of suicide had crossed my mind, but I couldn't leave my children, thinking, why weren't we good enough? Why couldn't she be there for us? So my doctor put me on antipsychotics on top of antidepressants. So, all this medication, and I just wasn't getting better. So add to that, again, you're not looking after yourself as a mum. It's all about the kids. And so, not eating well, not exercising, not getting out and not socializing. I'm that person that accepts the invitation to everything, but on the day I say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't come, because I can't talk to people. I can't put myself out there, and I can't be that person that's social because I'm not good enough. So my husband and I were talking about finances and me going back to work. And of course, anxiety just comes through the roof. Like, how can I go to work? How can I look after these kids? How can I be a good mum? How can I do all this? So that's when I started looking into something I could do from home. now Karina was one of the first people I met in this business. And of course, for me, I met this beautiful woman and I thought, I'm not like her. I can't do this. Why? I'm no one. I'm just a mum. And it took a few months for me to actually think, okay, I've got nothing to lose. But what was the clincher for me, I think, was from the health side of it, was I was so run down, and I had heard some stories about what these products could do for other people. Maybe they could help me. What then happened for me quite quickly was that I started to sleep a lot better. I started to feel more energy, and gradually over about a year, so I've been on these products for a year, I speaking to Karina all the time, and this beautiful team, as Esther spoke about. Between my doctor and I cut back my antidepressants to nothing. So I've now been in this business for over 2 years, and I still, as you can see, I'm getting emotional. I still have those feelings of I'm not good enough, but I think that they're so ingrained in me that that's something I have to work on forever. But what I am eternally grateful for is that I have met these amazing women and men, but mainly women that I've connected with, that understand me and understand where I've come from, and they don't judge. They just, I am who I am, and they appreciate me for that. What that's given me is confidence to get up here and speak. I'm shaking like crazy, but I'm here sharing my story because these women have said, you can do this, you've got a story. And from that confidence, what I'm hoping is that I can raise beautiful, fearless, amazing children that don't have that that depth of just lack of self-worth inside of them. I want to show my children that they are worthy, that they are so beautiful, and everything in the world is for them. And that's what this business and these people and this company and these products have done for me. And for that, I will continually recommend them to others so that they don't have to have these feelings that I've had, that they can get past it and feel great. Sorry for being so emotional. It's obviously just a really tricky topic for a lot of people, but I think by getting out there and talking about it, we all realise that there's so many more people that are feeling like we do, that need a voice, and hopefully we can be that voice for people. So that's my story. I'm going to pass over to the beautiful Amanda, who also has a gorgeous story for you.
Thank you, Megan. Wow. I'm getting pretty emotional listening to everyone's story, and also I just can't believe how many people are suffering in silence, just hearing these beautiful ladies, hearing their story. And we've worked together for 2 years now, and I mean, I knew parts of their story, but I didn't know the full extent of it. And to just think about how many people are out there, and and the people watching this event tonight, how many people might still be suffering. And that's really why we decided to make this event tonight, to help people that may also be going through a similar situation. And we really love that we have this opportunity to help so many people, and if we can just help one more person, it's definitely worth our stories and us putting ourselves out there and being vulnerable. So I'll just go through my story as quickly as I can. I don't want to keep you guys on for too long, but basically, I mean, my stories, or I think a lot of mental health, they're all very similar. We all go through the same kinds of emotions. And mine too backdates to my childhood. I had a really, really hard childhood, not to get into it all, but I didn't have that close family relationship with my family at all. I have 3 sisters, and I don't speak to either of them. I actually don't have any contact with my mother, and my parents separated when I was young. So as a child, I was alienated from my father. And so obviously a lot of childhood mental health issues started from a really young age, and then coming into an adult, it just escalated from there. So for me, I hit rock bottom in 2014. I had been diagnosed with depression and anxiety since I was 19. And then I had 2 children. I had been married, and then in 2014 I had separated from my daughter's father. I then was alienated from my own daughters, so that sparked a lot of memories from my childhood. But now I was in the other, experiencing it from the other end. And I got to a point where I just didn't think that I had anything left to live for. I couldn't see a way forward. I was just in this black cloud that I just couldn't escape. And I also attempted to take my own life, and I was unconscious for 2 days in ICU. My ex was told that I wouldn't make it, and he had actually brought my daughters in to say goodbye to me whilst I was in hospital. So my daughters were only really young at the time. They were 2 and 4, and here they are saying goodbye to their mum, thinking that she's not going to make it. But I was in hospital for 3.5 weeks, and by some miracle, no doctors can explain it, but for some reason I'm here. And, I've completely turned my life around since. I have now repartnered. We have our own son together now. I have an amazing supportive partner who has really helped me to believe in myself, and that I can make all my dreams come true, and I can be something, something great in this world and help other people as well. And through him, I guess, believing in me, I went looking for another way to fulfill, to fulfill myself and make me feel whole. And I came across this opportunity. And like I said, I didn't have a really strong family. I only really have a couple of family members in my life. I don't really have many close friends, so I felt really alone. And then I came into this business, and I was like supported by all these beautiful people who knew nothing about me, but they were all there for me. And this community that we have is just so amazing. We all lift each other up. We are there for each other 100%. I mean, before this event, us ladies were messaging each other, and we were all so nervous, and we're just there for each other 24/7, and it's just an amazing community to be a part of. But the products as well, I mean, when I was going through my severe anxiety and depression, all the doctors did was throw drugs at me. I was put on, just up her dose of medication, just increase her visits to the psychologist, and just throwing pills down my throat. And that never fixed the problem. That just put a Band-Aid over it, and just made me feel numb. But these products, I've been taking them for over 2 years now, and when I started taking these products, I noticed a massive change in my moods. My moods were stabilizing. I had so much more mental clarity. I felt so much better within myself, more positive on my outlook on life. And I worked with my doctor to slowly decrease my medication dose, and after 8 months on the products, I was completely off all medication. So, that was a massive thing for me, to be able to go from being on a high dose medication and at the lowest possible point in my life. And now I am completely medication free, more stable than I've ever been in my entire life, and feeling so much more happy and positive for, the life that I have, and so grateful for, you know, my family and the amazing community that I have within this business. So, I mean, that's just a quick share from me, but we have gone a little bit over time, but I'll pass you back to Karina now and she can wrap things up for us. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies, for jumping on and sharing. I know that wasn't easy for you guys. Like Amanda said, we were messaging before this event and completely packing it. And I can tell you that these women have been so open, so raw, so real with you tonight. And for that, I'm truly grateful. So thank you so much, ladies. I know it wasn't easy to get on here tonight. But look, these women that you've heard from tonight, they all have amazing businesses that they run online where they inspire and help people to reach their goals every single day. So although we've all come from a history of mental health, we've all had our challenges, we've all had struggles, and yes, we still have some to this day that we're still working on. We are making progress, we are growing, we are becoming the best versions of ourselves, and now we're helping other people along that journey as well. And that's really what this event is about tonight. We are here to help all of you guys. If you need it, you know, if you want someone to talk to, we're here. Please reach out to us, come and connect with us. We would love to hear about your story and where you've been throughout your life, because that's what this is all about. It's all about the community of empowering people to just be the best versions of themselves. And that's what we want for every single person on this event and for everyone watching the recording as well. You know, some people come to us, they join our business for money. Other people join us for the health benefits, and other people join us purely for the community that we have, and that is in itself, I can tell you, if I didn't make any money from this business, which is far from the truth, but if I hadn't made any money in this business, the community itself, the friendships I've made, and the people I've been able to connect with who have helped me to grow into the person I am today is absolutely priceless. There's nothing that I would have take that away from me. It's just been an amazing addition to my life. So we are the Juice Plus company, and we are really, really excited to have brought this event to you tonight. As I said, we do have some people launching their businesses tonight. So we have Kaylee, Marie, and Tracy is relaunching as well. So this means that they are new to our business. They've just joined the team. They're excited to get started on their journeys, and we are excited to help them. So massive congratulations. Everyone who has come on tonight to support them, thank you so much for being here. We really do appreciate you and your support. But that's it. I'm really sorry that we did run over. I know I gave you 20 minutes as an estimate, but you know, when you're speaking from the heart, sometimes you just can't stop. And I know there's so much more to our stories that we really could have shared with you tonight. But I think we got the main idea out there is that, you know, mental health does affect so many people. It's something that we need to be open, honest about and share with people and talk. And it's only through talking and working through it that you will grow and become the person that you want to be. So, you know, if you are feeling anything, if you're feeling closed in, if you feel like you need to talk, please reach out to someone, get in touch with the person who invited you along tonight, and, you know, just reach out and say, hey, you know, I'd love to talk about my life and where I'm at. We're all here to help you. So thank you so much for coming along. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great night. Thanks, guys.
Bye.